Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times. And today I'm here to let you know everything that I watched in the month of October.
It's coffee time.
So October has been quite a good month. I did try to watch some horror movies, especially toward the end of the month. I didn't have as much time as other Halloweens, but I just wanted to watch a couple of horror movies, and also I was lucky to watch some new releases as well. So let's get into it. As always, I'm gonna go through my Letterboxd and let you guys know the rating and a little bit of what I thought of the movie and if it's worth it or not. So let's go and check my diary entries. So the first thing that I watched is actually a movie that I translated for Warner Brothers, and that is Commitment Phobia from 2021. So this is basically a German movie. It is funny because it's a movie that was done in Cologne, which is where I used to live. So there's a lot of like slang and things that were used in the movie that I obviously knew because I've been living there for so long. So it was a treat to translate the movie from German to Spanish. Now, in Spain everything is dubbed, so basically they use my translation to dub the movie. That's what I do it for. So this one, it was just fun. It was just about, you know, how relationships work in 2021 and how hard it is to commit to someone and how it is so hard to have like a serious proper relationship with somebody. And it was a lot of fun. Then I went to the movie to finally see Fall, which I was, you know, intrigued about since I saw the trailer for the first time, and I ended up liking it, but maybe not loving it as much as I hoped. I do have a review for this one, and it is about two girls that are trying to cope with the loss of a loved one. One of the girls is having trouble to move on, so her friend kind of encourages her to go with her on an adventure, and that adventure is to climb a 2,000 feet old radio tower that it is now abandoned, and just do it for fun and giggles, you know, for the kick, you know, for the thrill. And the problem is that when they get to the top, they're very excited, but then the stairs break and they don't have any way to go down, and they are trapped at the very top. That's basically what this movie is about. So it's kind of like 47-meter down but up in the air. And it's going to be hard for people with vertigo to watch this movie. I did like a lot of things about the film. I think that some of the choices toward the end were interesting, and I feel like some of the problems that I had with it were mostly connected to the characters and their kind of personality. Also because, you know, it's one of those movies when you know the things that they are doing are probably not realistic at some point, so you have to be a little bit in disbelief with this movie, but I still think that it was a decent watch. Then we decided to go watch Ticket to Paradise because, you know, we have free tickets for the movies. And my boyfriend was like, let's just go that one, and I'm like, fine. But it was sadly not really exciting or interesting. It was just a super standard generic comedy. We did wanted to see George Clooney and Julia Roberts because they are icons, but even with them in the movie, it was just, you know, super predictable, super tropey, and basically one of those movies that you can just watch on TV that doesn't really need a theatrical release. In the movie, we follow divorced parents played by George Clooney and Julia Roberts, and their daughter is getting married and they just want to stop the wedding no matter how. So they will have to team up even though they hate each other's guts, but they have to team up to see if they can stop the wedding. That's basically what the movie is about. Then I watched a documentary on Netflix called Untold, The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist, and this one I thought it was really interesting. I have never heard about this story, and I was so shocked when the whole thing started to unfold. It is about an NFL player that basically the story was that he lost his grandma and his girlfriend basically the same day or one day apart from each other, and it broke the news and it gave him so much like fame in a way, but then people started to say that actually his girlfriend never existed. So this documentary follows the investigation, it follows everything that unfolded and everybody that was involved in it, and I was quite shocked to hear that something like that could actually happen. Then I watched Werewolf by Night, which is a Marvel movie on Disney Plus, and it is a short movie. and it was released obviously for the spooky season. It is about monster hunters that all want to go and win a specific prize. So they all go to this mansion to take part into kind of like a battle to figure out who is the best monster hunter and who is going to be able to inherit this thing that they want. And it was a lot of fun. It was black and white. I loved the characters. And it was just, like I said, a lot of fun. So definitely check it out if you like Universal monsters. It definitely has that vibe. That's what kind of they were going for. So yeah, check it out. It's great. Then we rewatched The Addams Family because we want to get ready for Wednesday. So we rewatched it because it's a lot of fun and it's another perfect movie at any time during Halloween season. So yeah, I just rewatched it. I've watched it now many times and I still have the time of my life, and I still feel like Wednesday is my spirit animal. So after that we went to the movies, we saw Halloween Ends, and I'm really glad it ended because if you've seen my video, if you know, you know, I didn't like it at all. I do have my spoiler-free review and a spoiler part as well with a little bit of ranting because I just needed to let it out. This was just bad. There was no other way to explain this. This takes place 4 years after Halloween Kills, and it's supposed to be Laurie's last fight with Michael. And for the most part of the movie, Michael is either not there or a freaking joke, so take that as you wish. I feel like I don't need to explain this movie too much. It was just not a Halloween movie for me. The plot was a mess. Everything was a mess. The characters were not themselves. It was just like, there is no way to take this film. There's no way to redeem it really. So yeah. And then we watched a Netflix movie called The Curse of Bridge Hollow, which, you know, Netflix always releases this kind of like family spooky movies for the season, and it was okay, but it was not really funny for me. I feel like Netflix has had better ones before. The one with Adam Sandler was definitely better. I don't remember now the name, but that one was definitely better than this one. This one felt just too generic for me, but it's out there if you want to watch it with your kids because it's a family friendly film. And then we watched Addams Family Values because, you know, just to continue the spooky season, the Addams Family. And also my partner said he didn't remember watching this film, so I'm like, we're gonna watch it now. Still love it, still have a lot of fun with it. It's just one of those movies that it's just cozy and comforting, you know what I mean? So still love to rewatch them. Then I went back to Netflix for another documentary, and this one is called The Pharmacist. And let me tell you, I was so impressed by this documentary. It was so good, and this story got me really shocked because of the way that the story starts. It's basically a story in which a father is determined to figure out what happened to his son. His son was killed, and the police seems to be trying to just, you know, close the case super quickly and blame it on the obvious things. And this father was so freaking determined to figure out what happened to his son that ended up discovering something much, much bigger. And every time this father was talking, I was like, you go. Like, I was clapping for him. It's like, that father was a good one. And I just really enjoyed it, and I really strongly recommend you guys to check it out if you have not seen it yet. So after that, I have logged The Faculty, which is another movie that my partner hadn't seen, and it had to be fixed. The Faculty is a 90s classic, and it is kind of like a horror sci-fi comedy, and it's just a lot of fun. Basically, it's about a high school in which the teachers start to act really weird, and some of the kids that go there to high school, a group of friends, are trying to figure out what's going on with their teachers, and people get killed, which is also a lot of fun. And I feel like this one is just that. It's just a cheesy, fun movie, and you guys have to watch it if you haven't seen it yet. And then I finished Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, because I started it, but I was taking my time with it because it gets really intense. It's quite long, and I was just so mesmerized by how talented Evan Peters is and all the lengths he went through to actually portray this man, this horrible man. and he feels so real in this character. I know there's a lot of controversy behind the show, and I know that this character has been sexualized, and honestly, it doesn't mean that the show is bad influence. It just means people are just messed up in their heads, because why would you sexualize a serial killer? I would never understand. I would never buy merch of a serial killer. I would never support that. But you know, I still am interested in the stories. I mean, lately maybe we have been getting way too many of these documentaries, but I just would never, you know, sexualize them, buy merch, things like that. Like, I have my limits, and some people would even tattoo their faces in their bodies, and that's just too much. Like, those people really need to get checked. But anyways, this basically goes over the story of Jeffrey Dahmer, and it goes back and forth in time, telling kind of how his upbringing was, things that might have potentially influenced him in his later years, and also goes through all of his kills, or most of them, the ones that probably we have more information about. And it goes a little bit through the trial as well and stuff. So it is quite complete documentary based on his life, and I do recommend it because I feel like it was so well written, it was so well done, and Evan Peters as Dahmer is such a creepy character. Like, it makes you feel uncomfortable to even watch it, and that is such an accomplishment. And then I went to watch The Invitation, which by now you've already seen my review, and you guys know I was not a big fan because this movie, I'm gonna explain it spoiler free, but it ended up being so disappointing because it took a turn from which could have possibly been a really creepy, atmospheric, gothic story, and it turned into some sort of horror comedy that was just cringe, and I just could not anymore. And it was really predictable. So all in all, you can skip this one in the theaters and just wait until you can watch it at home, basically. So after that, you know, Halloween was approaching, and on the 30th, I was like, it's time to watch All Hallows Eve. I've been waiting for this day. Now, I found a copy of All Hallows Eve when I last went movie shopping in Germany, and I was really excited because I had never seen this film, and you guys know I love Terrifier. No, I still have no access to Terrifier 2. Still waiting here. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find Terrifier 2 in any streaming platform here on the Netherlands, so I don't know what I'm gonna have to do. Maybe I just have to wait for the release on physical media so I can buy it, but we shall see. As soon as I watch it, I'll report back. But since I love Terrifier so much and I had never seen All Hallows Eve, I was excited because I knew this was the movie where you first get to see Art the Clown, and it is actually a pretty good Halloween movie because it has a couple of different sort of horror stories into one. We follow a babysitter, and the kids come back home with their Halloween candy, but also with a tape that somebody gave them, and when they start playing the tape, it's kind of like horror short movies and they watch it, and that's basically the stories that you get, and I loved it. It is quite extreme, it is very gory, there are no boundaries, and they basically touch things that most horror movies are too scared to go there. So just putting it out there, if you like Terrifier, you probably will enjoy this one, but if you thought Terrifier was a little bit too much gore for your liking, please keep this one. Moving on, we have The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I have to rewatch it every Halloween, and it is what it is. I know it's not for everybody because it's kind of like a musical, you know, there's a lot of songs, but it's just the vibe for me. It's just also that I've been watching this movie since I was a kid, so it's also for nostalgia purposes, and I just love Halloweentown so much. I love to go back there every year. And then obviously I watched what possibly is now my absolute favorite Halloween movie, which is Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat was such a game changer for me. When I watched that movie, there was no going back. Like, if I can only watch one movie on Halloween, it's gonna be that one. I just love Sam so much. I love this movie because we are basically in one small town and we follow different stories that are kind of intertwined with each other, and the way it was done, it was absolutely wonderful. I love all the stories. There are so many good creepy moments. I love the kids from the bus. I love Sam, and it's just so good. If you have never seen this movie, and even though Halloween is over, I urge you to watch it because it is just so well done. And I'm kind of sad in a way that we never got a sequel, but at the same time, what if the sequel would have sucked? You know what I mean? So this one was a lot of fun. I think that this one has elements of humor, but they are so well placed that it just works wonderfully, and it is that beautiful balance between fun and terrifying horror, and I feel like that's why I love it so much. And last but not least, on Halloween day we also went to the movies because I wanted to watch Barbarian, and they had an early screening of Barbarian for Halloween, and I'm like, I'm getting my ass over there. And Barbarian is now possibly one of my favorite movies of 2022. I have a spoiler-free review. The only thing I'm gonna tell you about this movie is that we follow Tess. She has booked an Airbnb. When she gets there, there's another guy already there called Keith, so they find out that the Airbnb has been double booked, and she's scared of spending the night there because Keith is a stranger. But what she doesn't know is that probably all the things that are inside of the house are what she should be actually scared of. Go into this movie, please, without knowing too much about it. I kept my spoiler-free review super vague because I feel like this is one of those movies that you can spoil so easily. Feel free to watch the trailer. The trailer doesn't spoil anything at all. It's probably gonna pique your interest, so please go and watch it. Support this movie. It's fantastic. Loved it. And after that, they were running The Thing from 1982 back in the cinema, you know, for the anniversary, I think, and for the Halloween season. So I was really excited because I had never seen The Thing on a big screen, and to tell you, it was such a different experience to see all of those amazing top-notch special effects on the big screen. I had a blast. We are in Antarctica in a remote location. We have a group of Americans that are kind of like exploring the area, and they end up making some kind of discovery that is not going to be something that they wanted to find. Basically, they find this sort of entity that can take any shape or form. They absorb the form of like a dog, a human, so it could be inside of anybody at any time, and that's where the horror element comes in. I love this movie so much. It's such a good classic, and I feel it still holds up because the special effects are great. So if you love kind of, you know, shapeshifter movies, movies that are in a remote, cold location, and you've never seen The Thing, you have to watch it. Alright guys, so this is everything that I managed to watch in the month of October. I'm still watching Supernatural with my partner, and we are also watching Cabinet of Curiosities, but I still have not finished it, so I cannot give you all my thoughts on it. I'll probably also do a separate video just on that show because I had been expecting it for such a long time, since I absolutely love Guillermo, and so far I'm absolutely loving it, I can tell you that. So thank you guys as always so much for watching. Let me know down below what is the best thing you've watched in October, or what is your go-to Halloween movie that you need to rewatch every year. Let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in our next coffee time. Bye!